The Volvex tar emerged through the cyan mist, its guns aimed at the scattered fishing flotilla.
What in the frozen hell is that?
Attention, primitive vessels. You trespass in Vreshkar's space. Power down or face destruction.
This is Captain Hall. We've been fishing this cloud for 34 years. On what authority do you threaten us?
You are in no position. I give you 10 seconds to comply, or I will reduce your ships to atoms.
The battleship's main guns swiveled, locking onto the lead vessel. On the fishing boats, harpooners tensed but held their fire.
That's no council patrol. It's a warship. Why would a warship bother with fishermen?
10 seconds. I will not be mocked by a pack of rust bucket hunters. Surrender now.
Steady now, boys. No one fires until I say. We've been chased by worse than a shiny politician.
The cannons charged, a low hum filling the channel. Brenda Hall's finger rested on the harpoon trigger. She did not blink.
Enough. Bring us closer. Maximize threat projection. Crush their insolence.
The Volvex tar pushed into the Cygnus cloud, churning the blue haze. Sensors scrambled, shapes blurring.
Captain, all scopes are muddy from the cloud. Massive signature dead ahead, but no transponder.
That silhouette. Long, curved, them faint biolights. Could be a Class V bull, the biggest I've ever seen. Flotilla. Assume hunter pattern 2. All ships prime harpoons but hold fire until my mark.
Harpoon pods extended from 14 prows, electromagnetic spikes crackling to life in the starboard gloom. The flotilla scattered into a wide ring around the ghosting mass, cutting off every escape vector.
What are these creatures doing? They are not fleeing. They are positioning.
Easy, everyone. It's a big one. Maybe record class. Let's not spook it until the net is ready.
Harpoon triggers locked. The fishermen waited. The Volvex tar sat motionless inside the ring, its admiral still unaware he was the catch.
All ships, fire at will. Put every harpoon we got into that monster, now.
At her command, 14 harpoons shot from the fishing vessels. Their tips glowing red, they impacted the Volvex tar in a staggered rhythm. Each strike a hammer blow that sent tremors through the hull. On the bridge, deck plates buckled. Ventor Krell's throne lurched, and he saw disbelief on his officers' faces.
Damage report. Now, what kind of primitive weapon can breach our energy shielding?
14 solid munitions. No warheads, each now firmly attached by a heavy cable.
Good hits. Reel in the slack. Keep tension. Net crews. Prep for deployment on my order. No movement. A whale this big should be fighting, but this one just hung there.
Bring all cannons online. I will not be humiliated by a pack of rusted harvesters.
But the fishing boats were already edging forward, taking up the slack, ready to pull their prize.
Light him up. Full stun net spread. I want him wrapped tighter than a festival gift.
From 14 launchers, the nets shot out, crackling with blue energy, expanding to engulf the massive target.
What is that mesh? Some kind of energy webbing? It cannot possibly.
The net crackled across the hull, and the battleship's lights dimmed, its engines sputtering to silence.
Now the clamps. Magnetic tow lines on that catch. Make sure nothing slips. We're bringing this old bull home.
Heavy cables with magnetic heads slammed against the battleship's flanks, attaching with a solid thunk that echoed through its corridors.
All engineering, repulse them. Activate point defenses. Why do my gunners not engage?
All hands, take up the strain. Ahead 1/4. Let's see if this beast can fight a full flotilla.
14 sets of engines flared, and the Volvex tar, its mighty bulk helpless, began to slide backwards through the cyan mist. On the bridge, Admiral Ventor Krell could only stare, his mind refusing to accept that his battleship was being dragged by tiny fishing vessels. The flotilla adjusted course, dragging the silent prize toward the processing platform on the cloud's edge.
Get those systems back online. I will not be paraded like a trophy by these primitives.
Brenda's crew erupted in cheers. On the comms, voices overlapped with laughter and estimates of the catch's value.
That's the biggest Class V I've ever seen. We'll be eating well for months, boys.
Captain, the hull density is off. No biological tissue reads this high. Scans show metallic alloy composition.
Maybe it's been eating metal-rich plankton. Don't overthink a gift, Tomas. Just enjoy the haul.
The processing platform grew closer, its cutting arms and holding tanks stark against the blue cloud.
They intend to carve us? These primitives have no idea they've attacked a warship.
Still, I've never seen a whale with a hull that regular. This feels wrong.
But Brenda had already turned her mind to the price per ton. The flotilla pressed on, dragging their living battleship into infamy.
Captain, there's no biosignature at all. And these edges, too straight. A whale doesn't have sharp angles.
The cloud began to thin as they neared the edge, the mist parting like a curtain.
Look, that's not flukes or a tail fin. That's a dorsal weapon mount. I've seen schematics of warships with that configuration.
That can't be. But the shape, it's not curving right. Power up the full spectrum scanner. I want a detailed composition analysis of that hull.
With the cloud thinning, the silhouette resolved into a sleek, angular form, unmistakably artificial.
Captain, I am telling you, that's a ship. A battleship. We just harpooned a Navy vessel.
If it is, then who's crewing it? They haven't fired a shot. Battleships don't just let minnows drag them around.
But even as she said it, Brenda's voice lacked conviction. The evidence was piling up like driftwood. The flotilla slowed, some vessels bleeding off speed as the tension spread from ship to ship.
All ships, cut engines, hold position. Something's not right here.
The flotilla engines died, tow lines going slack. The massive ship drifted to a stop, still tethered but unmoving.
I'll take the skiff, Captain. I need to see this with my own eyes.
Jet close enough to read the hull markings. And Tomas? Keep your comb open. I want to hear every breath.
Minutes later, the skiff launched from the Brenda's Pride, its thrusters pushing it toward the looming shape. The small craft darted through the thinning blue mist, its headlamp cutting a path toward the silent giant.
If that's a whale, I am a Vreshkar Admiral.
As he neared, the details sharpened. Viewports, gun batteries, a massive insignia of a clawed fist. Definitely not organic.
Captain, you are not going to believe this. It's got a nameplate. Battlestar. That's a Vreshkar battleship.
Brenda's blood ran cold. She just ordered a hunt on a warship. Tomas forced an emergency hatch and stepped into the alien cruiser's sterile white corridor.
I am inside, Captain. Half a dozen Vreshkar crew, all unarmed, just staring at me like I am a ghost.
A full crew, and I dragged them halfway to the platform. My God, what have I done?
Swallowing hard, Brenda opened a direct comm channel to the Battlestar's bridge.
This is Admiral Ventor Krell. I see you finally realized your mistake, Primitive. Prepare to face retribution.
Admiral, there's been a situation. My crew mistook your vessel for a space cetacean. We are not hostile.
Not hostile. They've pierced my hull and paralyzed my ship. This is an act of war, not a mistake.
Brenda's mouth went dry. She had no protocol for this. Only 34 years of sea logic and a bad feeling.
I am waiting. Human, explain why I shouldn't order your flotilla vaporized the moment my cannons power up.
The line hummed with static. Somewhere in the flotilla, a crewman coughed. Brenda took a breath to speak.
Admiral, on behalf of my crew, I apologize deeply. We're whalers, not fighters. The cloud deceived us.
Deceived. You attacked a Vreshkar flagship with harpoons and a net. This humiliation is unprecedented.
Sir, in the mist, your silhouette read like a bull. Our scanners were clouded. It was an honest mistake.
Silence. Your excuse is deep in the insult. I will reduce your flotilla to scrap for this.
To be fair, sir, ye look exactly like a Class V. Any whaler would have done the same in these waters.
For a long moment, the Admiral was silent, his mouth opening and closing, crest twitching.
Did I really just say that? But it's the truth, plain as salt.
You dare compare the pride of my fleet to a beast? You are either brave or stupid.
Neither, Admiral. Just a captain who's been hunting a long time, and I'll make this right.
The Admiral's glare could melt steel, but he held his fire, his silence more dangerous than any threat.
What would an old whaler do? Offer him a cut of the catch. Admiral, I've got a hold full of prime cetacean steak. Consider it personal compensation for the trouble.
Steak. These creatures are truly primitive. Yet, it would save face and avoid a formal incident. You will release my vessel immediately, no further delays, and I will accept your offering.
Done. I'll start cutting the lines right away and send over a fresh slab. Best cut we got.
The Admiral switched off the comm, his fists clenched. His bridge crew stared at him in disbelief.
Tomas, get back here. We're cutting the ship loose, and someone fetch a steak from the freezer.
Remember this day, human, and pray we never meet again unless murky circumstances.
Aye, Admiral. Clear skies to you.
The comm clicked off. The Volvex tar hung in the cloud, still bound, but a fragile piece now held between fish and steel.
All ships. Cut the net charges and retract the harpoons. Let the big fellow go.
Charges blew, the net disintegrating into wisps. Harpoons withdrew, leaving small punctures in the alien hull. The tow cables detached with a clang. Floating free, the Volvex tar, now unbound, bobbed gently.
Engines to full course away from this disgrace, but keep targeting sensors on those vessels.
Hull lights flickered on. The cannons glowed briefly, then dimmed as the ship turned away.
He's not firing. That steak might have bought us more than a meal.
Consider this a temporary reprieve. Human, the Vreshkar Navy does not forget.
We'll be here, Admiral. Same cloud, different catch. And we'll keep a steak cold for you.
The Volvex tar's engines flared, accelerating into the void, leaving blue mist swirling. The flotilla watched in silence, then reformed their formation, tension dissolving like the cloud. The maintenance drone, following protocol, auto-committed its full sensor logs to the Vreshkar military net. A civilian network glitch leaked the unencrypted data. Within hours, it was on every public feed. On Promenade 9, a giant wall screen flickered to life. The Volvex tar wrapped in an electromagnetic net. Humans roared approval. A Vreshkar attaché turned away, crest drooping, as the crowd pointed and laughed. Brenda Hall's voice cut through. All ships, fire at will. Then 14 streaks shot toward the hull. Tomas's skiff appeared, then his stunned report. It's a battleship, Captain. The crowd howled anew. Aboard the Volvex tar, Ventor Krell's crest flared crimson. He watched his own disgrace loop endlessly. He ordered a total comm blackout, but his comms officer could only stare at the screen, paralyzed. Within hours, spliced compilations set the footage to jaunty music, with scrolling commentary in 17 languages. By next cycle, the legend was loose. Some said a fishing captain had outfought a dreadnought. Others said worse. On Kestrel Station, a group of off-duty engineers raised glasses to a screen showing the netted battleship. On a colony world, a farmer painted Class V beneath the silhouette of the Volvex tar on his barn roof. A Vreshkar news anchor fumbled her vocabulary, calling it an unscheduled training exercise before the feed cut. Captions flooded the net. Undersized catch, harpoon diplomacy, and Admiral, past the steak sauce. Ventor Krell received a priority message. A still image of Brenda's ship, with a cartoon steak floating next to it. The High Council summoned Admiral Ventor Krell. Official transcripts leaked 5 minutes later. The leak included a council member demanding to know whether the Battlestar had been properly tagged and released. Admiral Ventor Krell sat in the anteroom, his career glowing bright red on the news feeds outside. Merchandisers rushed to produce "I harpooned a Battlestar" patches, and the flotilla's signal became a meme template. The Vreshkar Navy, once untouchable, was now the galaxy's most painful joke, and one old captain held the punchline. The tribunal convened in a stark white chamber. The High Council seated in a semicircle. They projected the footage of the Volvex tar being towed, freeze-framing on the netting. Admiral Ventor Krell attempted to speak, but the lead counselor silenced him with a raised hand. "You allowed a fishing flotilla to capture your ship." The recording of the lead counselor echoed. "Your rank is hereby revoked. You will be reassigned to the logistics depot on Ralter Minor." Ventor Krell's crest flattened completely, a sign of utter submission among his kind. He was stripped of his admiral's sash on camera. The footage immediately leaked to news nets. 3 cycles later, he sat at a cramped desk in a dimly lit office, processing inventory forms. The office door bore a hand-drawn sign: Former Admiral of the Fleet, currently processing requisition forms. His only decoration, a framed still of the netted Volvex tar, sent anonymously with a note that read, Class V, indeed. While Ventor Krell filed inventory forms, the Brenda's Pride led the flotilla back to Port Sorensen. The docks were packed with thousands, fishermen, traders, aliens, waving handmade signs reading Class V crew and harpoon heroes. Brenda stepped down the gangway, her face shifting from exhaustion to disbelief as the roar hit her.
Would you look at that? We're famous. Been 30 years and never got a wave. Now we're drowning in it.
Fame's a fickle fish. Tomas, smile for the cameras, but don't let it go to your head.
A reporter thrust a microphone toward her. Captain Hall, any comment on the Admiral's demotion?
I hear he's got a desk job now. Maybe we can send him a bigger desk plant. Harpoon-proof, this time.
The crowd laughed and cheered louder. Brenda managed a thin smile, but her eyes were already drifting back to her ship.
All this fuss over a mistake. I need to put this to rights, in my own way.
She excused herself, retreating to the wheelhouse, leaving the party outside. In the quiet wheelhouse, Brenda pulled a scrap metal plate from a locker and fired up the plasma welder.
A little something to remember this mess by, and maybe keep my head from getting too big.
The welder hissed, etching bold letters. Successfully captured. 1 Battlestar. She paused, then added beneath. Released, undersized, in a smaller curving script. She held up the finished piece, a handmade metal plaque, edges still hot.
What's that, Captain? A new sign for the head?
Better. A fishing license for future hunts. Read the fine print.
Undersized. You are killing me, Captain. That's going right on the wall.
Together, they pinned it next to the wheelhouse viewport, where every passing crewman would see it. And when the rest of the crew filtered in, the laughter echoed through the ship long into the night. In dockside taverns from Port Sorensen to the outer stations, the story grew sharper with every round. Old deckhands swore Brenda had wrestled the Admiral barehanded. Others claimed the net was woven from lightning. In the Cygnus cloud, Vreshkar patrols now gave the flotilla a berth 5 times the legal minimum. A captured comm snippet from a Vreshkar captain. Avoid the small gray ships. They bite. Brenda Hall's face appeared on 100 recruitment posters with the tagline, Join the fleet that hooks battleships. Young recruits crowded career offices, pointing at her image and asking to join the whalers.
All that fame won't fill the hold, Tomas. Let's just do the work.
As you say, Captain, but you do realize you are a legend now, right?
She only shook her head, her eyes fixed on the blue cloud beyond the viewport. The flotilla sailed on, now part of the stars themselves. A warning and a promise engraved on every hull, alone in the wheelhouse. Brenda studied the certificate, its rough edges catching the console light.
1 Battlestar, released undersized. They'll be telling that one at the docks for 100 years.
Still admiring your handiwork, Captain. You know that plaque will outlast us all.
Maybe, but a plaque doesn't fill the hold. We've got a real whale to catch now.
Tomas chuckled, shaking his head. Through the viewport, the Cygnus -7 cloud swirled with fresh promise.
All right, enough gawking. Signal the fleet, form up, prime harpoons, and set course for the feeding grounds.
Low rumble of engines rippled through the flotilla as the 14 ships swung toward the deep blue.
34 years, and the cloud still feels like home. Let's hope the next catch is what it seems.
The certificate caught the last ray of the port lights, its etched letters glinting, and the flotilla vanished back into the eternal blue, where the real whales still sang. The certificate, slightly tarnished, stayed pinned. A new sign below read, Authentic Battlestar Capture Site. Tourists from a dozen systems posed beside the harpoon controls, their flashes glinting off the plaque. An alien child tugged a parent's sleeve. Is that the ship that caught a navy? The guide just smiled. For those who remembered, the plaque was never a joke. It was a reminder. No one is too small to leave a mark. At the spaceport entrance, a steel harpoon monument now pointed toward the cloud, erected by grateful dockworkers, deep in the Cygnus -7. A new generation of cetaceans drifted, their songs undisturbed by the legends above. On Ralter Minor, Ventor Krell filed his final inventory form and gazed at the same image on his desk, a piece of the netted Volvex tar. Back in the wheelhouse, the certificate caught the light each dawn, its letters still sharp. And whenever a child asked, the old whalers would lean back and say, "Funny thing about whales. Sometimes they shoot back, far in the blue." The Brenda's Pride, long retired, rested at anchor, resetted at anchor, a silent sentinel to a day the stars would never forget. Aboard the Vreshkar battleship Orax Tar, a young ensign stood at attention, staring at a tactical display. Before entering Cygnus -7, your training includes this mandatory briefing. Pay attention. Do not engage small gray vessels. They carry electromagnetic harpoons and are known to mistake our battleships for space cetaceans. Former Admiral Ventor Krell failed to observe this protocol. His battleship was captured and towed by a fishing flotilla. The ensuing scandal cost him his rank. He is now processing inventory on Raltor Minor. Do not repeat his error. The ensign glanced at the cloud through the main viewport, his crest stiffening with apprehension. A permanent marker now blinked on the tactical overlay. Harpoon hazard zone, avoid. The battleship's course was automatically recomputed, adding a 40-degree deviation around the feeding grounds. No Vreshkar warship would ever again enter Cygnus -7 without remembering the name Ventor Krell and the whalers who humbled him. In his cramped office, Ventor Krell received the new navigation directive. His name, now a byword for folly, had saved the fleet. Years later, the certificate hung in the port museum, safe behind tempered glass. A young girl, clutching a toy harpoon, stared at the plaque with wide-eyed wonder.
That was my ship, once. We caught something we didn't expect.
The girl leaned closer to the glass, her nose almost touching the framed metal.
The lesson isn't the catch. It's knowing when to let go.
Outside, the Brenda's Pride, fresh from restoration, gleamed against the docking umbilical. Brenda limped up the gangway, her old chair waiting, just as she'd left it. The flotilla, fewer now, fell in behind her. Their engines hummed, a chorus of purpose. From the dock, the girl raised her toy harpoon high, a one-child salute to the departing gray ships, and the certificate, alone in its case, seemed to glow, as if remembering. For a moment, the museum grew still, as if the stars themselves paused to listen. Then, slowly, the light faded, leaving only the etched words, "Successfully captured. One Battlestar." Far from there, the flotilla became silhouettes, then specks, then memory. But the cloud never forgot the sound of their engines, nor the laughter that followed. And the certificate, now a permanent resident, bore witness to the day. Humanity taught the stars to laugh. A single harpoon, cast from the original molds, hung above the museum doors, pointing forever toward the blue. On the certificate, age added a patina, but never obscured the date of the capture. And in the deep, a new pod of cetaceans rose. Unafraid, their songs threading through the cloud, for as long as the cloud swirled, one truth would remain. Even a battleship is just a fish to those who know how to hunt, and the stars would never forget.